The case against 23-year-old Jarius Barnes and 22-year-old LaDeja Nelson is much more serious. They were charged with beating a man at the Briar Creek Shopping Center in Raleigh. When he later died from those injuries, their charges became murder. Witnesses say last month's incident was over a parking spot. 65-year-old Billy Allison was stepping into a parking spot as Nelson was turning in. They say it ended in violence. Authorities say Allison died of complications.
Hey you guys, welcome to this episode of the Stubbs Show. This episode is very serious. All over the world, people are seeking justice for many things. There's a big injustice going on, especially in our brown and black communities. From our babies, to our husbands, to our mothers, children's, sisters, and brothers. It's a lot going on. My guest on today, I am honored to have her on and have the opportunity to tell her story and assist her along this journey of seeking justice for her young daughter. For me, I have a lot that I can say, but it's not about me telling my side, it's about me getting her side out. You guys learned a little about her daughter before this, and so now we're going to go into the story of a little bit of what happened. Everything right now is allegedly. We're fighting for the facts to come out. So welcome my special guest, Miss Nelson. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Considering the circumstances, I know God is in full control. And so with that being said, I have peace knowing that at the end, He'll be victorious. He'll be victorious, and it's all going to work out for the good.
And keeping your faith.
Yeah.
Now, this incident happened almost a year ago.
It actually happened a year and 3 months, almost 4 months ago.
Okay.
It happened in November of 2019.
And due to COVID,
Yeah.
it has been prolonged
Right.
and pushed back because we know the courts were closed and things like that. So she's been in prison for now a year and some change.
She's been in the Wake County Jail now for a year and 3.5 months.
Wow. So you've been having to deal with that. And not only are you a mom, you're a grandmother.
I am. There were a lot of issues going on in the world. As far as every morning I woke up, I saw videos of African American, brown people being attacked by the whites. And that, when I heard what happened, that scared me and my heart dropped, because I did not ever think that it would happen to us.
You turned into mama mode.
Yeah.
Mama bear, like, hey.
Immediately, I was trying to find the keys to my car, and I mean, I just, of course, reacted in mama mode. Yeah.
And you were trying to, your thing was get away from what's going on.
Yeah, I was trying to get there so that I can get to her rescue. However, I recognized I needed to call her to see, what was going on, how she was doing. And so I did call her, and she was like, she did mention that the man that assaulted her did have, a weapon, and he threatened them with it, and so I told her to get away from there.
So what allegedly happened is that she went to go get a pizza, altercation went on, she was being threatened and attacked by a Caucasian man.
Mm-hmm.
She was there with her boyfriend, and as this man attacked her as a woman, if getting attacked by a man, her boyfriend stepped in to assist her.
Correct. By the time she returned home, she was,
Distraught.
She was, it was like, Mom, you just go look at your car. To go look at my car and see that it was vandalized. I was like, wow, like, who has this strength to do this? I mean, I knew, that this was an angry person. I knew that because seeing the damage to my vehicle, it was like, this was an angry person. And so she described what happened to me, and all that came to my mind was I was relieved that she had someone there to protect her.
And then she returned home.
About 10 days later, I received a phone call from a detective wanting to speak with my son. He stated that my son actually saw incident that happened outside of Papa John's, and I was fully aware that my son did not see exactly what happened. However, he was told what happened by a witness. However, he didn't see it himself, so I already knew when he made that statement that
something was going on.
Something was going on. At that time, I was, because I traveled with work, I was in Georgia. And so I made it aware that I was unavailable. And because my son, who was a minor at the time, because he was a minor, I told him that he's unable to speak with him without me or an attorney.
That's right.
He didn't like that. He was upset that I made that statement, and he did ask me when will we be available. I told him to leave his information, and I'll reach out to him when I am available or when we are available. Well, about an hour later, I hear that there are police officers at my door.
Oh my God.
I hear my son was actually going to the gym, and he was approached by an officer. The officer, he called me and was like, Mom, there are police outside, and I told him, that no one has the right to even talk to him because he's a minor. I told him to go inside, and I was going to get an adult over there, to him. And at the time, he and my niece were both there. When he tried to enter back into the apartment, there was an officer there who blocked his way and would not allow him to go back inside. He put his foot in front of to FaceTime me.
Mm-hmm.
And while on FaceTime, I told him to point the camera in the direction into, there was quite a few of them in there, but I asked him to point the camera to where he could see, because I advised him and my niece to stay on the chair so they wouldn't say that you're, interfering with the investigation, or they wouldn't, do anything that would cause harm to them. Because
right,
they are
right,
minors, and
right.
they were in there by themselves. And so I just asked him to take the camera and just to kind of follow the ones that were in his sight. And they were in my room, and I don't know, I noticed one that was doing something in a bottom nightstand, and I was like, what are they doing down there? Because nothing down there but papers that I have, my papers, and so I tried to pay attention as much as I could, being that we were on FaceTime with my son. I had him, stationary so that no harm would come to him or my niece.
So let's go to the day when they came to. Did they arrest your daughter on that day?
No, they actually detained my son,
the minor,
my niece, the minor, and my sister,
who were nowhere on the scene,
who was outside in the parking lot because they wouldn't even allow her to enter.
Arrest her in the parking lot.
They arrested her, and they arrested my son, and
without an adult around.
Right, and he's the Detective Harmon put his face in the camera, and he said to me, "Now they're going downtown. This is the way you wanted to do it. You should have just allowed me to question him, do things pretty much the way he wanted them done." And you can imagine how I felt.
Yeah, and not being on the scene. And so let's fast forward to the day they came to get your daughter.
So the next day, and this is the day that I got back to North Carolina about 4 or 5 in the morning. From Georgia.
Took that radar flight.
I actually drove. I drove my vehicle.
Okay.
I drove my vehicle, the one that's vandalized.
Okay.
I drove that vehicle because it's my vehicle.
Right.
I just purchased it.
And you said, "Let me get back home."
And I had to get back home, and I got back home. I wanted to make sure that my son and my niece and my sister were okay. I actually went and spent the night at my sister's, and because that's where they were. And the next morning, my sister had to attend school, so I was taking her, and we were followed and tailed by marshals and police. And by the time I got to the gas station and pumped gas, they were surrounding the car. And at that time, I was actually on the phone with an attorney.
Okay.
I was actually on the phone with an attorney, letting him know, because this was the attorney that actually went and got my sister and niece and nephew. And so I was on the phone with him, telling him that they were surrounding the car and they were following me. So,
which had to be scary.
Yeah, it was. It was. And when I got out, I had 2 officers actually. One was a detective, or Officer Crocker, and the other one was a Officer Tilly or something of that case. This officer grabbed me by my arm, and I asked him, why was he grabbing me?
Right, and being so aggressive.
He said, put your arm behind your back. And I said, why are you, what is going on? Why are you doing this? And he grabbed my arm and just pulled it behind my back. And I said, can you tell me why you are arresting me? And he said, put your arm behind your back, ma'am. You're being arrested. And I said, well, why are you arresting me? And then another officer said, no, that's not who we're looking for. So when the other officer said that no, that's not who we're looking for, he let my arm go. But he was very, very, very aggressive. He wouldn't tell me, why he was detaining me, what was going on. And at this point, that is when they were like, we're looking for your daughter. And I did ask them why, because
you have a right to know.
Yeah, I asked them why. They didn't want to disclose that information to me. And then about an hour after that, they had went to where my daughter was, which was at her boyfriend's house, and they entered into his home, his parents' home, not showing a search warrant.
So they came into the home, your daughter's boyfriend home, to arrest your daughter, and
she wasn't half dressed, so she was indecent. She was holding my grandson, and she described them ripping him out of her arms, and and he was crying, of course, because he was scared.
He don't know what's going on.
And that right there took me to another place as well. To take a child from his mother, a stranger handling him when they both were half dressed. And so, and then she said that they took him out of her arms and walked away with him. So
right. So as a mom, you thinking, where's my child? What are you doing with my child?
Her baby was for a while. So they had took my grandson to another part of the house, out of my daughter's vision. So of course, she was afraid, he was afraid. In short, I allowed her to call me. Okay. Well, the boyfriend called me and said, get here fast. So my sister, son, and I got over there. At this point, I guess they allowed her to dress, and so she was in handcuffs, sitting in the chair, and my grandson was sitting on her lap.
Son?
Where they interrogated her and her boyfriend,
probably, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But
and so later I received a phone call from the detective Harmon, and he made me aware that day that the man expired. He died on December 3rd, and the incident happened November 23rd. And so,
10 days later.
I'm confused. I was confused as why.
And what is the charge? When did they tell you what the charge was?
We didn't know what the charge was until they had their first appearance the next day.
Were you there?
I was there. And
what was the charge?
It was assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, and no one had a weapon except for
the person who died.
The guy who died.
Who vandalized the car, who assaulted them. And now they're trying to say that your daughter, some way, somehow, had a weapon with her.
On February the 5th, she received a bond of $5 million. And that, when I heard that, I said, something is
not
right. I'm like, there's no way that they can put this on my daughter and her boyfriend, but I can see that they're definitely trying. So I have to get some help. I have to get some help, because they're not going to have two innocent young black people down there accusing them of, for one, first-degree murder or murder at all.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And my problem is how can they do such a thing?
And hold them accountable
How
for something
is that possible?
of this manner.
Absolutely. Something of this manner when that has nothing to do with it.
And so they haven't given, for me, and this is just me because everything is alleged right now, this is just me, is that it just seems like they're throwing all this stuff on you before you can get any evidence, or you can really get your hands on finding out what's going on. Even when the marshals arrested, was attempting to arrest you, nobody's telling you what's going on, so that you're left in a blind, and you don't have the time to say, let me see, because to you, your car got vandalized.
Right.
You guys had left it alone. Yeah, he was assaulted. You guys left it alone, and you didn't know that he had taken it to the next extent. And the whole time, just in case you guys don't know, we have a young black people involved, and then we have an older man that's a Caucasian involved, and we're down south. Okay, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're going through this, what do you need help with now? Because the case now is your daughter has been locked up over a year.
Over a year.
You now have become a mom to her son.
I am.
Who haven't seen his mom.
Hasn't seen his mom in about a year because COVID, they shut all the visitation down. And when they did open it up, he wasn't allowed to visit. So the only thing, she just calls him on the phone, she's able to hear his voice, and then we send her pictures. But each and every time she sees a picture of him, she's crying because her son is getting older and older and older and older, and when she left him, he could barely walk.
So she missed out on those type of things because they're holding her on a case that,
Absolutely.
When I talk to anybody about this, they're like, how the hell?
Right. I believe that the family is fighting. I believe the family is, I understand that his family is grieving,
right?
But they have displaced grief, and they're putting the blame where it's not supposed to be. They have nothing to do with that man's death,
right?
And so,
especially coming back weeks, days later.
Absolutely.
I can see if this all happened the same day on the scene, this and that. This man could have been angry because he was already dying. It's just me, my opinion. I don't know.
I feel like he did have health issues. I feel like he probably was in a state of deterioration prior, and
that's what he could have been upset about.
He could have been angry about that, because it takes an angry person to do that amount of damage to my vehicle, and then to assault a woman, and then to pull out a weapon and threaten their lives.
After doing all this, that anger is to the point where it seems to me, looking from the outside, he didn't care anymore about anything. He just was pissed off.
And so the fact that he dies weeks later, what does that have to do with my daughter and her boyfriend? There was a Facebook page for the guy who expired. His family and friends established a Facebook page that said Justice for Billy Allison. And a lot of them were primarily his church members, and they were very derogatory on there in regards to my daughter and her boyfriend. I was trying to seek as much help as I could to have them exonerated and come home of these allegations, for real. And when I was saying I wanted to seek the help of the NAACP, it was a comment made on that page stating that I have associates, and I know people at the NAACP, and I'm going to reach out to them and tell them not to work with the family. And just the things that I read on that page was real disheartening to me, because they speak of God, and God is love, and to read that type of anger, because it's anger, that's why I do know that their grief is displaced. It's displaced, and it's unfortunate that he did pass, that he did expire, but my son, my daughter and her boyfriend had nothing to do with it.
Right. So what do you need help with right now? One, I know you need the people to support you. So I wanted to do this interview with you because I'm a mom. I have 2 sons that are black and young, and at any moment our children can just walk out this door, and because of the color of their skin they can lose their life.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That is the world we're living in.
And it's sad because it's 2021. I would think that we would be past something like this, but another thing is that in our community, in order for us to get through situations like this and move things forward and show that we are a force to be reckoned, and that we're not going to keep accepting what's going on, especially as moms and parents, fathers, we got to take a stand, and we got to stand together. Because at the end of the day, as long as you have a pinch, a drop, 5% I think it was back in slavery of blackness in you, blood, you were black, and they cast you out. So we got to stick together. So before I end this interview, my question to you is, what do you need help with? How can we now help you? One, I want to call on all media folks that's watching this, whether you got a podcast, a newspaper, a blog, a vlog, anything. I want you to connect with her and do a story. Share this story. Put it on your platform. We got to make some noise. It's not about being in North Carolina, because I'm from D.C., New York, all the way down to Alabama. We got to put this story out there to seek justice. What do you need our help with?
Well, we're trying to raise funds for her attorney fees. We have a GoFundMe, Justice for LaDasia.
I spelled her name, LaDasia.
L-A, capital D-A-J-A.
Okay.
We have fundraisers, which I do have her Justice for LaDasia mask that we're selling, and we're just trying to raise monies for her attorney fees.
Okay.
Because she needs a good attorney, and she needs to come home.
Yeah, she's a mom.
Yes,
you know, so.
She's a mom. My grandson is 3 now. He just turned 3 earlier this month.
March.
And he needs his mother. He needs his mother. His mother, who doesn't need their mother?
Right.
You know, I mean, even times now, I go through just, you know, with my daughter being detained and on a $5 million bond in jail for first-degree murder. I have to go to my mother. I need to be around my mother. So I can imagine this baby
needing his mom.
And
your daughter needs you. Yes. She needs a hug from her mom. This happened out of the blue. Could you imagine you know, her son being ripped from her and her being ripped from her?
Right.
You know, out of nowhere. How can people outside of GoFundMe connect with you?
Well, I'm on Instagram. That is Inner Touch Salon _spa. I'm on Facebook, Quinchella Nelson.
Reach
you
out.
can reach out to me that way. Those are ways to reach out to me. But I do also want to say that LaDeja we're very family oriented. We come from a huge family, and we don't hang up the phone without saying I love you. You know, we're always hugging. I still kiss my kids, and my daughter's 23. My son is 18. I still kiss them. So that is my baby, you know? And she always calls me and she said, Mama, I miss you.
And I know those phone calls hurt.
You know, I hate talking to her over the phone in jail.
Yeah.
Sometimes I miss those calls. Do you know how that feels? Because sometimes she's on lockdown because they have the whole block on lockdown for various different reasons, and you know, she has a time frame where she has to call. And when I miss those calls, it bothers me because I want to make sure she's doing good for that day, she's in a good mood, or she's in good health and good spirits.
And you can't.
I want my baby home. I just want her to be home because she doesn't deserve that. She doesn't deserve to be in that box. Because she's a good person. And she didn't do what she didn't do what they said she did.
You know, my prayers are with you and your family at this time. And I hope that everyone watching this and seeing this raw footage and feeling it, that, you know, you do your part to help this mom in need, because justice gotta be sought out. We got to bring justice to this situation. You guys, make sure you guys keep following, because I'm going to update you on what's going on. She has a court date coming up. You guys, if you're a lawyer and you're watching, an attorney with some advice, especially you civil rights attorney, we need you. We need you right now. We need us all to put our arms around this mom and help her during this time of need, because it might not be your child, but this can be at your doorstep tomorrow. She didn't plan for this. She didn't even think about it. Her daughter didn't plan for it. Her boyfriend didn't plan for it. So you guys have to do something, whether it's a phone call, if it's just sharing this story, if it's, and I always like to say this, don't think that no donation isn't big enough. $1 from 1,000 people is $1,000. I want to give a shout out to everyone who made a donation towards this show, because your donation is actually going towards helping this mom in some way. So I want to thank you guys for what you guys did. And the dollars that came through, those helped it. It wasn't much, but guess what? It's much for a person that needs the help. So I want to thank you guys for all that you've done. Once again, this is another episode of the Stubbs Show. I'm going to go because you guys know I'm a big baby and I'm sensitive. So I have to end before my feelings and emotions start flooding the whole scene. Remember, follow me on Instagram at _Stubbs_show. We on Facebook at the Stubbs Show. And just keep watching and stay tuned. It's so much more to come. And I thank you guys for joining me. We're logging out. We need your support. I'll see you guys on the next episode.
How you act got me so confused. You're gonna miss all the good times that you're reminiscing on. When you remind, you're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it. It was was your fault. Cause baby, I was good enough. I got you that car, made you feel comfortable. You took it too far.